Alright, so today I'm making this video solely based on Indian market. Alright, so in 2021, in 2022, I was issuing warning to the people that on the basis of astrology, next 5-6 years are going to be very hard, right? So you just survive these 4-5 years, 6 years, and then you would be in good shape, right? That then after that your life can be stable. And I was wrong in that advice, all right? Because the last 4-5 years have been brutal, right? There's no denying it that the last 4-5 years were not bad for the world, right? There were many wars, there were a lot of inflation rises, a lot of scams, etc., a lot of natural disasters. But today I was again analyzing, and after analyzing for a long time, I get to know that my projections were very wrong, all right? Because even I was not anticipating these much moves. So basically we are near our end statement, or my end statement, where I was saying that you have to survive till 2027, and after that the world is going to be a good place. Now I'm saying that prediction is wrong. Even my prediction is wrong. Why? Because in next 5 years the world is going to go from bad to worse, right? It is not going to go good. It is going from bad to worse. And even the geopolitical scenarios are, aligning with it. As we are already seeing that Ukraine and Russia war is still going on even after 4 years. I still remember that it was February, or it was Feb or March of 2022 when Russia invaded Ukraine, saying that Ukraine is a part of Russia and we are taking Ukraine by force. And Ukraine asked for help to the US. Joe Biden was the president of US back then, and Joe Biden provided billions of multi-billion dollars, I guess hundreds of billions of dollars of weapons and the support to Ukraine to train new forces, to train new army, to get their technological advancements in the warfare. And Ukraine is fighting still. And I guess today, or maybe yesterday or last night, Russia said this to Ukraine, that we are going to command a ceasefire on all fronts. We're not going to attack Ukraine for, I don't know, 1 day or 2 days. And Russia said that we are anticipating that Ukraine would do the same. So you get my point, that from attacking Ukraine, Russia is now going for ceasefire after 4 years. I still remember watching an ad which Russia made in the first year of war. Russia made an ad where the people of Ukraine and Europe, they were sitting in their cars, and their cars were loaded on the horse wagons, all right? And horses were tied, a stack of hay was tied to the horse's head or in front of horses, which were pulling the horses up, or you can say towards their destination. And the title of that advertisement was that no oil in the Europe, and there is a winter, right? And this ad was made by Russia in the first year of the war, that is back in 2022, where Russia thought that Ukraine would be gone in 1 year, because almost every single country, every single analyst was analyzing the same thing. But we all, if not all, even I'm going to talk about myself, that I misjudged the power of US and the power of money. US gave so much support to Ukraine, so much technological advancements in the warfare, so much money, so much troops, so much instructors, that Ukraine is fighting still even after 4 years. So money moves the world. That is true. All right, let's stop here for a few minutes. All right, so coming back to the today, right now Iran, US and Israel, they have all agreed to ceasefire for 2 weeks. And as I've said this in my Telegram posts, all right, if you haven't joined my Telegram channel, you should, because sometimes I made updates there and my updates were spot on, right? Before that ceasefire was even announced, right, that deadline, before that deadline was even crossed or approached, I texted in the Telegram channel of mine that ceasefire is going to go happen, all right, ceasefire would happen. And even when ceasefire is announced, US is going to attack on Kharg Island, all right, that was the post. And something unexpected happened. US attacked Kharg Island before the ceasefire was announced, all right, and they said that they intentionally didn't sabotage the oil ports of the Iran or on the Kharg Island, right? So everything which has oil, or the ports which were used or which are used in moving oil, they didn't intentionally hit those, but the army bases, the radar systems, the bunkers, they were attacked by the US. And I guess on the same night they announced that the ceasefire has happened and we are going to stop attacks for 2 weeks. Right now, tonight, the ceasefire talks are going to happen between US and Iran, right? And maybe Israel is going to join them also, where they will be, reviewing their points. Iran has made 10-point proposal, US has made 15-point proposal, and they are going to talk about things, all right, which points they are going to agree on, both are going to agree on, and which points they are not going to agree on. And then, maybe they can put an end to the war. Now, here is the truth. When I analyze this whole situation astrologically, I have already said that in the Telegram post itself, in another post, that Israel and Iran war is not going to stop, all right? It is going to go on until the end of 2027 and maybe even 2028. And if the talks are, means at that point, if they are able to attack on each other, then maybe this war is going to get dragged till 2030, where all the other wars of the world on 2030 or 2031, all the countries are going to stop attacking on each other, saying that their infrastructure is already a lot of broken, and countries are going into inflation and recession, and they should stop the war, right? Right now nobody's saying this, but I think we are already in World War III. All right. So what happens now? This ceasefire, this 2-week ceasefire, it is going to get breached again. US and Iran are not going to get into any conclusion. Why? Because US attacked Iran on specifically this condition that Iran is not allowed, or we cannot allow Iran to enrich their nuclear weapons or nuclear facilities, right, where they can create a nuclear weapon. And in the 10-point proposal which Iran has gave to the US, that is specifically saying that we are going to keep our nuclear facilities alive and we are going to use nuclear enrichment programs, right, which is completely in contradiction. This ceasefire, as I have stated in the Telegram channel, this ceasefire was totally for a load of purpose. These countries needed rest. US has burnt a lot of money in this war already, I guess around 30 or 40 billion dollars. Iran has lost a lot of infrastructure, and this 2 week ceasefire right now, it is just for the purpose that they can reload on their armies, reload on their weapons, reload on their technological advancements in the warfare, all right, and they are going to get into the war again. Israel is not going to stop attacking Iran, and it is happening even now, right? Israel has specifically said that Lebanon is not the part of Iran or the deal or the ceasefire agreement, so they are attacking on Lebanon and Hezbollah, and Iran is saying that if Israel keeps on attacking on the Hezbollah and that Lebanon, then they are going to get back to the Israel and US as well. So as I've said before, this war is going to get messier from here on, right? This 2-week ceasefire, it it is going to fade away, it is not going to sustain. In that post of Telegram in which I've mentioned this, I've also said this, that US is going to get forced. Maybe it is because of the midterm elections which are nearing for the US. Maybe it is because of that, or maybe because US has burnt so much money and a lot of inflation, inflation fear is there in the US, that US is going to pull out of this war, all right, for some time. Israel and Iran are going to get on to each other. They are going to keep attacking each other, and after 1.5 years, right, which is in 2027, maybe if US pulls out of this war, then in 2027 or 2028, US is going to get back into the war again, all right, and then it will try to shut down this war, or complete this war that maybe one side is going to win. Also, another analysis according to astrology which I came across this year in July or June or August, September, China is going to get into a war with some other country, right? So please keep it in mind. Now I know I talked about that I'm going to make this video specifically for Indian markets, but I talked about world. So coming back to the Indian market, what I've analyzed, all right. So as we all know that Iran's Handala, I guess Handala was the name of the hacker group of Iran, which were attacking on the US companies, infrastructure companies. They have attacked on AWS, they have attacked on I guess Citibank groups, etc., right? So these cyber warfares has started, all right, and this is the key point here. The countries are going to attack on each other's banking systems as well as infrastructure companies, all right, the key companies, foundational companies into the any country's growth, right? And banking system is the backbone of any country. So what is going to happen is in next 2 or 3 years, countries are going to attack on banking system of each other's, and India is not going to get spared. India's banking system is going to get hurt in that process, maybe directly, maybe indirectly. The ledger system of banks, which is on the Swift, I guess, Swift software, which banks use to control or have the records of the people, that this is the amount of this bank account, this is the amount of this bank account, this PF, this PPF, all the policies run by government or personal banks, and their KYC that this bank account belongs to this person, right? This record system is going to get hit, and because of that, all the banking structures of the world countries are going to get hurt in that process due to those cyber warfare. Now, because of this, every country is going to get back to the cash or the barter system. If things go very, very bad, maybe countries are going to go back to the barter system. Because fiat currency is going to lose value, a lot of value. Either there is going to be a lot of inflation where your $1 or 1 rupee is nothing, all right, and that can also happen, or that can completely happen. If it is a worst case scenario, which I don't know how it is going to happen, it can happen. I cannot forgo this analogy, but if the worst scenario happens, then fiat currencies totally gets out of value, and that would bring the metals back into the action, that gold and silver is going to get bartered, right? So what does this mean for Indian economy? We are going to go back into the phase where demonetization happened back in 2016. As you guys remember, people were getting into the lines for the ATMs for getting the cash, all right? Inflation was rising, everything was getting costlier. That is going to happen again, and on the worst scale, all right? It is going to be bad than that time. And as I've advised this before, get the cash as much as possible, all right? You should have cash, and I'm not talking about the cash in your bank account, because if the banking system is hit, if the SWIFT system is hit, where they are not able to recognize who is the owner of which bank account, right? They totally shut down the banking system. Then that would mean your money is going to get stuck in the bank. So I would suggest you guys that you keep the physical cash in your hand. You have the metals with you, all right? And for the India market, the stock market, I was projecting some analysis by W.D. Gan as well as Banner, Cycle, etc. The numbers were very, very bad, all right? Right now, Nifty has closed today on 24,000 plus, all right? So Nifty is trading around above 24,000 points. According to the projections, till 2031, Nifty is going to go down bad. And even if I take the least worst scenario, right, or the very good scenario in the very bad situations, even then Nifty is going to go to the 15,000 points. And this is the good scenario. If the projections are right, I don't know how much it is going to be right, but if the projections are right, Nifty is going down at least 50%. And these are the prices which nobody has seen. And from there, if we have, made it to 2031, if you have made it to 2031, companies are going to be very, very cheap. Right now, I know it is like a distant dream. How can this happen? How can Nifty go down this much low, right? I know there are a lot of questions in your mind, but believe me when I say this, till now I haven't been wrong in the analyzing of markets. I mean, I have been wrong in short terms, but in the long terms, it hasn't been the case in the astrological analysis, all right? So let's say everything goes right, but you cannot deny the fact that countries are fighting and the tensions are rising, and every single country has a very huge debt deficit, right? Every country has a lot of debt, and how each country is supposed to give back the debt if they don't have that GDP, if they don't have that income. So you give me the answer. If you think that this is not going to happen, how the countries are supposed to give back the debt, right, or repay the debt, because they don't have the money. And if they had that money, then that country shouldn't have been going into the debt, right? So this is why I'm saying, I know things are looking not good, but people have that mentality, buy the dip. But for next 5 years, please, I mean, I'm kind of I'm kind of begging you guys that if you are watching this video, if you have stumbled upon this video, do not ignore this, all right? Buy gold and silver. Silver is going to be used in the barter system, all right, because 1 gram silver coins are going to get used. That is in the very worst case. In India, maybe that doesn't happen, because rupee is going to get decoupled from US dollar very soon, all right? So how is this going to happen is, or unfold is, India is going to get hit hard, but till 2028 or 2029, Indian economy would survive, like we have survived 2008 world crisis. So what happened in 2008 is, people were living on cash, right? The cash was being used a lot, and there was no UPI, there was not online transaction, because those things were pushed by the government after 2008, right? But till 2008, everybody was living on the cash, right? So till 2029, people are going to get used to that demonetization level again, all right? That, all right, cash is the king, and we have to buy everything with cash, because banks are not withdrawing the money, right? We are not able to withdraw the money, and there is a limit to withdraw the money from any ATM. The country is going to get out of cash, because everybody is going to get hold of cash, right? Everybody is going to grab onto that last piece of paper, if they had any possession on any piece of paper, right? So this is how the things are going to get unfold. So till 2029, Indian population is going to get managed, all right? Cash is the king, and we have to buy everything on the cash. UPI is not working, banks are not working, so we have to deal with the cash. So due to that, everybody is going to go for the survival mode, right? Because everybody is living on the cash itself. So when 2030 happens or 2031 comes, the Western world, the European countries, they are going to get burnt because they are heavily influenced, or you can say they are heavily dependent on the online transactions. Credit cards are a lot, right? There is a huge credit card debt in the Europe than in India, right? So every single person in the Europe has a credit card, and they live on credit cards, they live on check to check. And when these oil prices, the higher oil prices, are going to increase the food prices, the living expense, that is when Europe is going to get hit hard. US is going to, it is going to get crippled for next 10 or 13 years. Maybe as I've read this article in the book, Changing World Order by Ray Dalio, maybe US is not going to get, or you can say maybe US is not going to be the superpower of world anymore after these 5-year period. That is a maybe. It is a huge maybe, because US still has that authority to print money. And do you know why markets are not falling right now? That is because US is printing money and nobody is talking about it. It is currently in quantitative easing mode. They have made it specifically systematic. Every single week US government is buying, I guess, 80 to 100 billion dollars in old debts, bonds, right? They are buying bonds, they are buying the old bonds from the banks, right? They are giving the cash to the banks, and banks are buying the stocks. So these prices which we are seeing right now, these prices are inflated. So please remember this. This year, if you are in profit in your stocks, in your SIP, in your mutual funds, in your lump sum, I would suggest you do cash it out and make it hard cash. If you do not, depend on the gold and silver, you do not like it, you keep the cash. Yeah, I guess I've said everything. I guess I've said my piece in this video. All right. So this is how the world is going to get unfolded in next 5-6 years. This is how I'm seeing this according to astrology's lens. So Nifty is going to get down. The good case, Nifty goes down till 15,000, which is still 9,000 points down, or let's say 30 or 35% crash. And the bad case, the bad case would be Nifty goes down to 12,000 to 11,000, all right, which is around 50% crash. And the very worst case, which I don't think is highly likely, that is that Nifty goes down below 10,000 and to the 9,000 levels, which would be huge. Because I still remember, before I ever started trading in Nifty, there was this one senior of mine. He said, can you please check the chart and tell me if Nifty can go down to 10,000? I said, yeah, it can go down to, it can go down below 10,000. At that time, Nifty was trading around 10,400, 500, and he said, if Nifty goes down below 10,000, I'm going to buy a lot of stocks, right? And he did. Nifty did went down 10,000. But if this time Nifty goes below 10,000, you can imagine that we are going to erase the gains of last, let's say, 10 years, all right, in next 4 or 5 years. And countries are going to be in very bad shape. Banking system is going to be in very bad shape. I know nobody likes to listen to the doom talk. It is kind of a doom talk, but it is a reality according to the astrology's lens, all right? So this is it for today's video. I hope I made you somewhat aware. So whenever you see the signs, or whenever you start remembering these lines of mine in this video, whenever you start remembering this video, I don't know at which situation you are going to do that, but whenever you do, you start hoarding your cash, all right? If you are living in India, you keep the cash, because I have done an extensive research on this. Indian rupee is going to get decoupled from US dollar. So rupee is going to survive this crash. Maybe not very much, but it is going to survive this crash. So we can live off on the cash. But in some countries, maybe the barter system would come back, right? Maybe. That's a huge maybe. Even I cannot even fathom it, but it is a huge maybe. So we cannot ignore this. So thank you for watching, and have a nice day.